Mic for me, Steven.
Test, test. This is my mic check for mine.
Zoey?
Test, test. This is the mic check for mine. Don't say. I'm not going to say much.
I needed something for the outro. Okay, that was amazing.
Nothing.
All right, I'm going to turn this. All right, all right, here we go. Welcome into the Family Pet Podcast, the podcast for curious pet parents, where we believe the more you know about pet healthcare, the better pet parent you can be. I'm your host, Michael Shirley, joined with a full house today of Family Pet Health. We have brother Steven. Welcome in, brother.
Hello, Michael.
And today we are joined by two of our extraordinary veterinary professionals here from Family Pet Health. We have our licensed veterinary medical technician, Zoey.
Hello.
Thanks for coming to join us.
Thanks for having me.
She's like, you didn't give me a choice. And we also have veterinarian Dr. Samantha Nieves. Dr. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We are glad that you are both here, not only on the podcast, but we're glad that you're a part of Family Pet Health each and every day. Steven, how's your, we need to check in because you had homework.
I did have homework.
You were supposed to check
the chip. Dr. Chrisman gave us the challenge, and I updated Maverick's microchip information, so it has our new address. Still the same phone number, so that's primary means of communication. But if he gets lost, Elizabeth is out of luck. He will be able to come home and be reunited with us.
What you don't know, the joke is on you. She already went back in and
undone it.
She undid it, yeah. But that was good. So if you didn't catch last week's podcast episode with Dr. Adam Chrisman, it was amazing. And one of the New Year's resolutions every pet owner should have was to check the chip. So good job on checking your chip, doing your homework. Not only did you do your homework, but you completed it, like making the adjustments there so Maverick can get home.
It only took me a year to update our new address, but that was a really good reminder.
What were the other resolutions? You remember?
Spend time with your pet. Mm-hmm. And Maverick came and spent time here at the clinic with me on Friday. He was our demo we had a moms of preschool group, and the kids, 2 and 3-year-olds, were tossing balls at him, and he was in heaven. So I gave him what he loved to do. I gave him more time of that.
There you go.
Check and check, baby.
There you go. And we talked about pre-appointing your pet's medical.
He already has his dental scheduled, I believe, with Dr. Sam. I think it's with you this year. Everybody gets to do dentals on Maverick because he comes in for a dental every year. He's 6 years old, and this will be his 5th dental because super important.
Good job.
Thanks.
Steven's like, I'm looking for the praise. Thank you. Thank you. Well, today we're talking about another thing that we discussed about with every pet owner is to have their pets evaluated and making sure that they're at a healthy weight. So Zoey, how important is it to have our pets evaluated for a healthy weight?
It's very important. Not only can it improve their quality of life, helping things like arthritis, preventing diabetes, it can actually extend the pet's life up to 2 years, as opposed to pets that are not obese and overweight.
Dr. Sam, what is it about dental procedures that help to extend pets' lives?
Dental.
I said dental.
So I tricked you.
What is it about not only dental, but weight checks and having your pet at a healthy weight that extends their lives by years?
There's probably quite a number of things. We know that a lot of diseases are associated with being overweight. The number one being arthritis and joint disease in animals. And we know that fat promotes inflammation in the body. So these overweight animals are basically just living in a chronic state of inflammation, and other diseases associated with it. Heart disease, we know kidney disease can be associated with it, urinary tract infections, and just heart disease, like just general health and wellness.
I believe episode 9, I was looking up for those who are watching that. What I was looking on my phone was, what episode was it? It was all the way back in May of 2022. Mentioned that literally just about every disease can be tracked back to weight. Overweight can open up the opportunity for just about every issue, major problem. So it's everything. It touches everything.
Everything's connected to weight. I'm feeling kind of personally convicted here.
Are you feeling judged?
You want to talk, buddy?
Yeah. I put on.
I've noticed you're starting to look more like a Shirley.
Fight it. Got to fight it.
There's pictures of our grandfather and our father. Both were in the Navy in their dress uniforms, and they look very similar to Steven. So he's always made fun of me for being larger. I'm just told it's more muscles, but now Steven's starting to
Michael
make
has
the
a lot of
switch.
muscles around his stomach.
That's true. We're going to do some evaluations later today. We'll have some videos that accompany today's podcast episode that you'll be able to go to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Just go to youtube.com/familypethealth or at Family Pet Health. I don't remember, but it's Family Pet Health. And you can check out some videos that we have today that will accompany the podcast. We're going to be looking at one particular dog that's becoming a little bit, as Dr. Sam likes to say, tubular, right? But this is not someone that's neglecting their dog. What is sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, when did that happen? When did I get bigger there? And is it the same with our pets? Is this something that pet owners don't even realize is happening right in front of them?
Yeah, all the time. And most times they realize it during their annual exams when they come in and step on the scale and they're like, oh God, they gained 5-10 pounds. I'm like, oh, I had no idea.
Which is a lot for a pet, proportionally speaking.
So it definitely sneaks up on people.
What would you say and this either one of you could answer this, what would you say the common causes of being overweight? What are the common causes for that?
Oh, it's pretty easy. Overeating. It's really easy for people to not understand or comprehend just how many calories are in a treat that you're giving. A tiny little dog, one milk bone can be a quarter of the calories that they need for that part of the day. So it's really easy to overfeed and overtreat your pets. And it's a very important thing for people to be able to reward their pets with treats.
Right.
So it's probably the biggest problem.
Dr. Chrisman said, throw away the cups that you use and measure and replace it with an actual measuring cup. And he said one of the things that he always asks people in the exam room is when he asks them, what are you feeding your pet? And they tell him, and then he says, and he keeps asking until they're like, no, that's really it.
And people's ideas of cups are very different because we have had people hold up the alcohol bottle in a room and say a cup about this big, and it's probably 3 cups.
Right. Three measuring cups. Yeah. But what about you, Dr. Sam? What any other, common, besides just overeating, are there any other causes for weight gain in our pets?
There's some medical reasons why pets can gain weight. If their thyroid's low, like in dogs, hypothyroidism is a big cause of animals having issues losing weight. And there are some other diseases, diabetes in cats, but that can also be caused by the cat being overweight. There's not many things out there that cause animals to be overweight. Probably a handful of medical things, but the majority of it is being overfed and overeating.
Getting too many calories. What are you going to say, Steven?
Well, I was going to say the thing that we think about in human is it's diet and exercise. Do pets gain weight when they don't exercise?
They can, especially ones that are active and then they're not active anymore. We see a lot of weight gain with that kind of thing, or like the family moves and the owners are saying, oh yeah, we just haven't been getting out much, and that's where the weight's coming from.
Yeah, I used to walk 2 miles a day, and now I only walk 1 mile a day with my dog. But he still eats the same amount. Suddenly, I see weight gain.
Another thing that can trigger weight gain, especially in female dogs, is once they're spayed. That's another time that we should be watching for that.
Okay.
So kind of like a hormonal.
Spays and neuters. That happens in male dogs too.
So the main takeaway here is if the lifestyle or condition of our pet changes, whether it's a medical condition or a lifestyle change, we need to reevaluate the caloric intake for that pet to make sure it's not getting overfed. When you say overfed, are we talking about the volume of food or are we talking about the calories?
Yes.
Yes, both.
It kind of depends because each food, I've seen bags of food say it's 200 calories a cup, and I've seen other food say it's 400 or 500 calories a cup. And so it kind of just depends on that brand of food and the kibble, and the kibbles are different sizes. And so a cup of one kibble could be 3 cups of another kibble because they're tiny, like cat food. And so, yes, it's a combination of both. I saw that bag
That was interesting in the background.
Well, that may be edited out. I'm not sure if I can get all of that out or not. Let's see. Calories, pet food.
Let me ask, does the age of the pet affect weight or weight gain or weight loss? Or is there a correlation to age?
I think a lot of times it's not necessarily a weight gain or loss with age, but you'll see a change in the body condition. As pets get older, they may start to look like they're losing weight because their body condition is not so good, or things will start to spread out. They'll get more pot-bellied. But if they're being fed correctly, the right amount of calories, then we shouldn't see a huge change just because they are.
But I might need to adjust the calories as age.
Right. Senior pets and puppies sometimes need different foods. So senior pets may need something a little bit different with some more joint stuff, things like that, where puppies need something that's going to support their growth.
And older animals are generally slowing down, so they're not exercising as much and going on those long 3-mile walks anymore. So yeah, we have to take that into account.
I think we've done a good job of talking about the issue. So we've identified it. We've discussed it. Now let's talk about solving it. So if a pet owner is like me looking in the mirror and goes, I've really got to lose some weight. I understand how to do that. I understand to look at what I'm eating personally, what I'm eating, how much of it am I eating, and what level of exercise am I doing. But when it comes to our pets, where do we go? Once we've identified a problem, we've brought our pet in for an annual visit, and Zoe's like, Michael, your dog has got to lose some weight. I'm like, okay, what's the next step?
Well, I guess first step, animals overweight, we need to figure out what are you feeding, how much are they eating, and what treats are they getting. And then making sure we're not overfeeding, because that's an easy fix. If you're feeding 3 cups a day and I'm recalculate how much you're supposed to be feeding, like, oh, you're actually supposed to be feeding like 2 cups a day and some treats. That's a good starting spot. Like, let's just cut it down. Let's just start feeding what they're supposed to be getting fed. And then let's see what they do in about a month. We should try to encourage people to come in a month after they adjust a diet to make sure that they're actually losing weight, because there are calculations that we can do to make sure that they're losing at an appropriate rate. We try to do like 1 to 2% of dogs per week, and cats around the same thing, because if they're not losing weight, then we start talking about switching up their diet to a prescription diet and really cut down those calories. And if they're losing weight too fast, then that's something we need to adjust, because we don't want them to lose weight too fast.
What does that mean, to lose weight too fast? Like, what do we? Oh, sorry.
Well, if our rate of loss is too much, then we need to make sure that we're not losing muscle, that we're not, going, our blood, our internal organ function is still being supported, that they're still getting the caloric needs that they have to have in order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not something as simple as I look at my pet and say, Maverick's getting a little too much. I'm just going to cut back. And if he gets 4 cups a day, I'm just going to feed him 2.5, and he'll lose the weight that way. That's not the right way.
Not a prescription diet. So we put them on, they're formulated to make sure that the animal is getting the right nutrients that they need in the face of a calorie deficit, because they're going to be in a calorie deficit. Like, we're going to take away calories because we need them to lose the weight. And then specifically in cats, we don't want them to lose weight too fast, because there's a whole disease process with cats and not eating and fatty liver. And
so it's a conversation to be had with your veterinarian.
Yes.
Don't just do it on your own.
Help me understand calorie deficit. When I hear you say that, I'm thinking that you're going to feed them less calories than they need each day.
Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the risks associated with that? Or are there any risks associated with that?
As long as you're doing it right and you're giving them a fully balanced food and following the instructions, there's not a lot of risk. The risk would come from, like she said, just dropping those calories too fast. Everybody has a base calorie, we have a metabolic base, and so that's the number of calories that you have to have. Dogs, humans, cats, you have to have that amount of calories in order to survive. Okay. Generally speaking, we're getting way over that amount of calories. So what we're doing is we're taking the number of calories that you're feeding your pet and calculating how much food to get them the number of calories that they need in order to never drop below that baseline that they absolutely have to survive, but just slowly, gradually dropping them down. Number one, we don't want to, risk the disease processes and things like that, but we also don't want to make it a mental trauma for the dog, taking it down a little bit at a time, substituting some of the calories you're feeding in food and exchanging them for treats you can give throughout the day. That way you're still able to maintain that relationship where you're feeding them treats. There's all these different things that your veterinary team can help you do. Just by giving us a few numbers, we can give you back. Basically, what we're doing here with our weight loss program, which I think is kind of where we're heading with this conversation, is we're giving you exactly how much to give your pet. You measure it out in a scale, you give them that. We tell you exactly you can give your pet 3 milk bones, and you can break those milk bones up into pieces. So we just lay it all out. As long as you do exactly what the doctor's telling you, then their pet should start to lose weight.
Okay. I was thinking about when you were talking about base and recommended calories and things for humans, what is it, 2,000 or 3,000?
It's 2,000
Okay.
for an adult.
For an adult, right? Sure. But we're speaking in averages. But there's the difference between adults, humans, doesn't seem to be as extreme as I could see within, especially dogs, between a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. There's not a baseline that's going to meet both of them. So how, Dr. Sam, do you figure up, I heard you say calculating earlier, how do you calculate what is the right amount of calories for a dog or a cat?
So there's a formula for it. There's a few different ways to calculate their maintenance energy requirements, which is what I'm looking for. And it's take their ideal body weight. And then I don't know if we want the specific numbers because this has exponents in the calculation.
We can speak at generalities here amongst the friends.
And so, so I'll calculate their calories. Let's say like 50-pound dog needs this many calories a day. And that's their like maintenance energy requirements just to live. And then there are standards to where like how far below these we can get. So about 60% of their RER or the resting energy requirements, which is different from maintenance energy requirements. And so there are values that we'll look at and be like, okay, we're going to start here and then we'll cut them down until we get to this. And then once we get to that, we have to have another discussion and talk about.
I want our listeners to know that there's a science behind this, that it's not just a willy-nilly, just let's try feeding this much today.
And when I think about a caloric deficit is not necessary or does not equal a nutritional deficit.
Yes, it does not.
That's important. So, I heard, Zoey, you talked about a well-balanced or formulated diet.
And that's why the prescription diets do so well with this, because those prescription diets are specifically formulated to make sure we're not having any nutritional deficits while taking away calories at the same time.
Are we going to see behavioral changes in our pets when we start cutting back on their calories?
Specifically cats, yes.
Tell me about the specifics with cats.
They get angry. We've had a couple people drop out of our program because the cats were rebelling and destroying things.
I was going to say, what does rebelling look like amongst cats?
Lots of knocking stuff off the counters.
Tearing into food bags.
Oh, yeah. We've had cats break into dog food bags because the cat food bags were hidden. So next food source.
So another part of the puzzle with this, we talk about behavioral changes, is we really have to focus not just on the food, but on stimulating their minds, because eating for these pets, the interaction that you're giving them, the waiting all day long for their mealtime, that's their excitement. Mm-hmm. If we take that away or we make that less exciting, we have to provide them with other things, like we recommend food puzzle bowls, different hiding their food and little treats around the house, things like that, to give them some mental stimulation to take the edge off of that constantly thinking about hunger.
And it kind of tricks them into thinking they're eating more when you spread the meals out throughout the day. So like my cat, he has an automatic feeder and it goes off 6 times a day, like every 4 hours. He gets a small meal in the middle of the night, 2 a.m, so he doesn't wake me up for food. And I mean, I was like, food. And I do recommend these people get automatic feeders because it helps dissociate feeding with the human. And so they're not going to bug the human as much for food. They'll kind of
go bug the feeder.
They'll sit by the feeder and stare at it and wait for it to come out.
That's great.
Now, I did an inadvertent slow feeder with Maverick the other day. I tripped his food bag is elsewhere, not right by where we feed him. And when I had the bowl, I tripped everywhere in the living room, a hardwood floor. So under the couch and underneath the furniture. It took him like 30 minutes to find every piece of kibble. But it was perfect. It's just not exactly the way that I would design it.
So our cats may rebel by meowing, being more vocal, knocking things off, tearing into containers. Sounds awful, but also sounds like life at my house with our 2 cats. They eat everything. They try to anyway. What about some behavioral changes that we might see with our dogs?
So I want to say similar. Lots of just begging, whining, maybe more like sitting at the food bowl, begging for people food.
I don't feel like they're quite as destructive as their feline friends, but they definitely will be prepared for the sad eyes, you know, that kind of thing. But know that they may, just like when you're cutting your calories, you may think you are starving to death, but you really are not.
Does it change? Like, do we see those behavioral changes usually towards the front end of this program, or do they go for the whole program?
I'd say usually the front end. After they get into a routine and they get used to it, it's fine. I think if people can
Their
get
body
past-
readjusts.
Dogs are a little easier to keep entertained too. I feel, adding in some extra walks, extra playtime, things like that goes a long way.
Yeah, if they're begging for food, maybe they're just begging for some attention.
If you do decide to take your cats on walks, make sure they're on heartworm prevention. If you go outside with them,
Yep.
I just had to throw that out there. My episode, each episode I talk about heartworms. So tell us about what Family Pet Health has created for the weight loss program. I don't know who wants to take that.
Well, we have a program that starts with, is it the first 8 weeks?
First 3 months.
First 3 months. So basically what the program is you come in, whether it's for your annual exam or else you can just call us, whenever, and come in for an evaluation with the doctor. We'll get the weight. We'll find out what food you're feeding, and go ahead and set up a calorie program. We do ask that you purchase a food scale to keep at home. It is every single kibble counts.
Okay.
And every single kibble, one kibble may not look like a lot when it's in the cup, but when you put it on the scale, you can see the difference. So we do encourage you to get a scale, and then we will go first 2 weeks. So you'll start feeding that diet. We like to set up weight checks every 2 weeks. Small pets like cats and small dogs, you can purchase a scale that you can keep at home, like a baby scale. Larger dogs, you can bring them in for a no charge weight check appointment. Just give us a call and we'll schedule that so that you can come in and use our scale. You can use our scale with smaller dogs as well. Just let us know. And then once you come and you get that weight, the doctor reviews that weight. We've got a flow chart that she's got that tells you how many calories are in the food. And she does the calculations that she was talking about. And we begin to slowly deduct little bits of food and lower those calories. We check in every 2 weeks. And in 3 months, we'll see where we're at. If you want to continue, then we keep going. Sometimes it can take up to a year. Average time is probably about a year to fully get to where we want to be, just because you get setbacks and things like that.
And why does it take long, Dr. Sam? Seems like just to be super easy. Just cut back on their feed.
Again, we don't want them to lose weight too fast. And so we do it controlled. And then sometimes, it's just a compliance kind of thing. The dogs got extra treats, or the owners go on vacation. They have a pet sitter who's not sticking with the diet very strictly, break into a bag of food, and that kind of messes up that diet for 2 weeks.
Well, I also kind of worried that it takes a long time because some of our pets, unfortunately, are
and they're very
overweight.
And just throwing this out there, but if dogs are hunting in the backyard and finding moles and rabbits and things that they're eating, or that could slow it down too, I guess.
Outdoor cats is kind of hard to control what they're eating and who's feeding them.
Yeah, if your dog's running loose and going to the neighbors and getting free snacks, then you're probably going to wonder, I promise I'm not feeding anything else. And you're like, he's getting something from somewhere.
Don't let your dogs run loose.
True. Well, but there are other factors that could play into it. So you never know. Now, we have listeners from all over the world that listen to the Family Pet Podcast, and maybe they look at their pet and go, yep, you're overweight. Maybe they want to sign up for this program with you guys. Is this something that they can do via telehealth?
Not ideally. I like to get my hands on the animal and kind of assess their body condition score. And the only way to do that is to actually get some hands on them.
Okay.
And kind of see where they're at and really look at them. We just don't have that technology yet. What
recommendations do you have for our curious pet parents that are out there if they wanted to approach their veterinarian about this? How would I say this? How do they?
I heard this program
they're gonna
other clinics doing.
Right.
Can you help me do something similar?
Yeah. So, step one, go to your vet and see what they recommend or what they offer, because not a lot of places offer weight loss programs. I don't think anyone else. And
this is legit. I don't feel like the podcast is probably doing it justice, but if you're listening and you're within driving distance of Family Pet Health, you should come in and just meet with Zoey or Dr. Sam to learn about this program, because it reminds me of it's better than The Biggest Loser on TV, if people remember that show, right? This is a legit program.
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes from UT Knoxville's. I've been working kind of closely with the vet there, at least in the front end, kind of get an idea of how do we actually do this. It's a thing, and not a lot of other places are doing it. So I would have them talk to their vet, see what they offer, or see if there's another facility nearby that they can go and get referred to for weight loss.
And I'll speak for you all. We would be willing to share our program with other vets out there. So if you're listening and your vet doesn't have a program available, tell them to reach out to me here at Family Pet Health, and we'll share what we've got going on so that you can. We want your pet to be at a healthy body weight because, as Zoey said, it can add years of life, quality life,
Add years and quality
to your pet's life.
And we know that's real. Like Purina did a lifetime study, followed Labrador retrievers for 14 years. They had a study group that was overweight and the control group that was normal, and 1.8, I think, median years
Was
that added.
And is that the one with the golden retrievers that the overweight group and the healthy weight, all but one of the overweight group died before the normal weight? It was
The healthy weight.
the healthy
Yeah,
weight.
I think that might have been. It was early 2000s.
But it was
study.
just the shocking that all but one died before the healthy weight group started dying.
Of old age. Yeah,
Of
or
old
other
age.
things.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we ever said this statistic, but in the United States, 60% of our companion dogs and cats are overweight. So, I mean, that is
Probably
it's
matches
a
the-
pretty big number.
And we didn't talk about this as much with cats, but they have trouble grooming themselves. They have trouble getting up and down.
Litter box
exploring.
problems can
Litter-
happen because they can't comfortably get in and out of the litter box. Plus, it can, make their osteoarthritis worse, which
Mhm.
also can cause them to have litter box problems.
And
So-
diabetes. I mean, that's a real thing. That
Tell
being
me about it.
well, type 2 diabetes in cats. I mean, like we've had cats. If we were able to get them back to a normal weight, like diabetes went away.
One of our assistants did the weight loss program, and her cat lost 8 pounds.
Almost 11 pounds.
Almost 11 pounds. And she says that he is an entirely new animal.
If I lost 11 pounds and I'm 200 pounds, I would feel like a different guy. So that's easy to think that a cat would, that's life
I
changing.
mean, a cat that weighs 15 pounds and he's supposed to be weighing 10 pounds. I mean, that's almost equivalent to like a 100-pound person wearing a 50-pound vest. I mean, that's.
Well, I really appreciate you all joining the podcast today. I don't know that we warned them to have a fun fact, did we? Dun, dun,
You're the one who
dun.
set up the.
I did. I just set it up last night.
I have a
Do
fun
you,
fact.
wait, do either of you have a fun
Not
fact?
about
for me?
weight. But
It could be about anything.
I do have a fun fact.
All right, good. So this is the part of our show where you are going to help our curious pet parents out there win trivia night, or at least impress their friends and family for dinner.
But I think it's Manowar, the horse with the undefeated record.
Mhm.
He has one loss in his career. Do you know the name of the horse that beat him?
Seabiscuit. I love Seabiscuit.
No.
Secretariat.
No, that was
No,
like
that was
50 years
yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
Upset.
Dun. That's good. You got any other? We got another fun fact?
Yes, the founder of Atari also founded a very popular children's venue that you find a lot of times at malls, Chuck E. Cheese.
Really?
The founder of Atari, and I think it's Bochelle. I was trying to look up the name. The founder of Atari also founded Chuck E. Cheese.
I guess that makes sense. They probably put all their games in there to
I
start.
bet.
Just kind of a
Chuck E. Cheese. I haven't been there in a long time.
Thank God.
Well, you know what? You know who else won't be at Chuck E. Cheese? Any of the pets on the weight loss program with Dr. Sam or Zoe. Thank you both for all that you do to help pets in our community. And hopefully this podcast episode will reach the earbuds of some pet owner who looks at their pet later and goes, buddy, got bad news for you. We're going on a diet.
But that's good news.
It is good news.
It's good news,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Well, that's what I'm going to keep telling myself this month too. I'm going to maybe do a challenge with our dog that we're going to look at today, see who can do better on the weight loss program.
We can just admit it. It's my dog.
Lucy had a rough go. She disappeared for a while,
Mhm.
and then she returned. She had surgery, and then we loved her so much.
She has been a little overloved. So,
just like me. So Lucy and I, you'll get to follow our journey together. We haven't confirmed this, but we'll see. You get to watch Lucy lose a little weight and Mr. Shirley lose a little weight. Well, we hope that all of you pet parents out there enjoyed this episode of the Family Pet Podcast. Share it with a friend, and until next time, stay curious.